Dear students, you can observe the virtualization for Linux and Windows NT platforms. Here, many such physical servers, nodes will be there. These are the nodes, the server 1, server 2, 3, like that. And here it maintains, it just consists of one command, that is ch change root. Okay, so here it changes the root directory. It changes the root directory. So with the help of that, the virtual private servers, it maintains a many number of such virtual private servers, and for this it just poses the templates, certain templates, and the host operating system on the top of the hardware, and the necessary interconnection network must be there. So these all you can just observe. These are meant for the Linux and Windows NT platforms. Friends, virtualization support and source of information. Here you can observe the figure. Most of the times these OS level virtualization systems are Linux based. Virtualization support on the Windows based platform is still in the research stage. The Linux kernel offers an abstraction layer to allow software processes to work with and operate on resources without knowing the hardware details. New hardware may need a new Linux kernel to support. Therefore, different Linux platforms use patched kernels to provide special support for extended functionalities. Okay, so here virtualization support for Linux and Windows NT platforms. There you can observe the virtualization support and the information, that is Linux vServer, OpenVZ for Linux platforms, and FVM, that is Featherweight virtual machine for virtualizing the Windows NT platform. You can observe these. Okay, right. So these are the virtualization support for Linux and Windows based NT platforms. Students, advantages of OS extensions. So here, advantages of OS extensions for virtualizations. Here, virtual machines at OS level has minimum startup shutdown costs, and OS level virtual machine can easily synchronize with its environment. These are the main advantages of the OS extension. And the disadvantages of OS extensions for virtualization. All virtual machines in the same OS container must have the same or similar guest OS, which restrict application flexibility of different virtual machines on the same physical machine. Okay, so these are nothing but the advantages and disadvantages of OS extension for virtualization concept is. The next one is, what are the different ranges of virtualization, different levels of virtualization now? Application, library level, OS level, hardware level, instruction set architecture. So we have gone through the instruction set architecture level, OS level, hardware level, and now the library level, library support level. It creates execution environments for running LN programs on platform rather than creating virtual machine to run the entire operating system. It is done by API call interception and remapping. The typical systems include Wine, Web, Electron, Visual Main, Win. These are the typical systems. And the advantages. It has very low implementation effort, shortcoming and limitation. So nothing but poor application flexibility and isolation. Application flexibility, no such a software, software level, it doesn't provide the application flexibility. Application flexibility means that is for any sort of application it should not be specific. Yes, here it is meant for library level virtualization, so it is not generalized, it is specific. That's how application flexibility is main disadvantages. Okay, application flexibility and isolation are main disadvantages. Right now, Virtualization with middleware library support. Here these are all nothing but the middleware runtime library. You can observe these and all are meant for the Linux, and some of library links are provided for here for Unix and also the Windows. Okay. Next one is vCUDA. vCUDA for virtualization of general purpose GPUs. vCUDA is a programming model. CUDA is a programming model for GPUs. Okay. This is meant for the graphical processor units only. This is meant for graphical processor unit. If you have virtualized it, then it becomes a V. You can represent it as V small v CUDA. It's a programming model meant for GPUs only. Okay. So this is one sort of virtualization. And here the basic concept here is on the top of the device, the hardware. On the top of the hardware, the CUDA application can run on the guest OS. Here the VMM is responsible for considering all the vCUDA libraries there. That is meant for the virtual processor, virtual GPUs. Okay, and all these can be communicated with the host OS. Host OS maintains the CUDA library, and this CUDA library, the CUDA stub is there. With the help of the CUDA stub, the VMM can make the communication in between the guest OS and the host OS. The next one is user application level. It virtualizes an application as a virtual machine. This layer sits as an application program on top of an operating system and exports an application of a virtual machine that can run programs written and compiled to a particular abstract mission definition. Here the typical systems are we discussed right now, that is JVM. And advantages, it has the best application isolation. Application isolation is the advantage. This is meant for Java programs virtualization only. Okay, application isolation is the best advantage. And shortcomings, the limitations are nothing but low performance, low application flexibility, and high implementation complexity. Remember one thing, if there is any application isolation, you cannot maintain application flexibility. If application, these two are the two contradictory words you can observe. Because application flexibility can be provided whenever the application is meant for all, not meant for one purpose. If it is meant for one purpose, that is application isolation, then you cannot have application flexibility. These are the advantages and the limitations of this user level, application level virtualization. Dear students, you can observe here different metrics have been there, that is higher performance, application flexibility, implementation complexity, application isolation. In all these four parameters, to assess the performance, the efficiency of all these levels, different levels of virtualizations, if you consider, highest performance has been given to the hardware level virtualization. Highest performance, because of in all the parameters, that is only is having the higher parameter values than the remaining. Okay, and the least one is nothing but the instruction set architecture. The performance is very least for the instruction set architecture, and the application flexibility is more for ISA, instruction set architecture. Implementation complexity is very less in runtime library support. Application isolation is very less in runtime library and also OS level virtualizations. This is all nothing but the relative matrix of virtualization at various levels. So this virtualization you can just attain this virtualization with the help of VMM. Okay, VMM, virtual machine monitor. Okay, or you can also call it as a container and hypervisor. So what are the characteristics of this hypervisor? Means many such differences many such types will be there. That is a type 1 hypervisor, type 2 hypervisor. Hypervisor is a hardware virtualization technique allowing multiple operating systems called guests to run on a host machine. This is also called the virtual machine monitor. And here type 1, type 2 hypervisors have been there. Type 1 hypervisor is nothing but bare metal hypervisor. Okay, all the students please observe what are the types now? Type 1, type 2. That is bare metal hypervisor. Type 2 is hosted hypervisor. What do you mean by this bare metal hypervisor? Which sits on the bare metal computer hardware like the CPU, memory, etc. All guest operating systems are a layer above the hypervisor. So where you will place the operating system? First hardware, next standard OS, and on the top of the standard OS the hypervisor, that is VMM. Okay, on hypervisor you can have the guest OS. The original CPU hypervisors developed by IBM was of the first kind, okay, of this bare metal hypervisor. Okay, and the type 2 is hosted hypervisor, that is run over a host operating system. Hypervisor is the second layer over the hardware. Guest operating systems run a layer over the hypervisor. The OS is usually unaware of the virtualization here. Okay, this is nothing but the hosted hypervisor. Just you will host, so you can run on a particular host operating system. That is nothing but the hosted hypervisor. This kind of hypervisor is the second layer over the hardware. So over the hardware you will place. I have already told you, either in between the OS and hardware you can place the VMM, or on the top of the OS you can place the these are the two types. Okay. The major VMM and hypervisor providers. The VMM providers, the host CPUs and host CPUs, guest CPUs, host OS, guest OS, and the VM architecture. Here you can maintain either a full architecture, full virtualization, or para-virtualization. So VMware is the best example for full virtualization, and Xen uses the hypervisor as the VM architecture, and VMware ESX server, that is another that is a product by the VMware, and VMware ESX server is the just suppose uses a para-virtualization. Okay, and here the same as this VMware ESX server is the same as the VMware workstation. VMware workstation, here there is no host OS, and all these VMware ESX, Xen, KVM, all just uses the particular guest can run on the guest operating system, and in this the VMware ESX is the somewhere extension of the VMware product, VMware workstation, which doesn't have any host OS. Okay, and the microprocessors and the details have been presented in the tabular form. Please go through it. Now, Xen architecture. Xen architecture here, it's a special domain. It maintains the one special domain 0. Guest domain, all the domains are guest domains, and complete control has been given to the guest domain 0, which is having the control and which is having the IO, and several guest domains has been represented here. So here among all these domains, one will be act as a domain 0. Okay, this Xen is an open source hypervisor program developed by Cambridge University. Xen is a microkernel hypervisor. This is a microkernel hypervisor which separates the policy from the mechanism. Okay, so this Xen hypervisor implements all the mechanisms, leaving the policy to be handled by domain 0. You can observe that in the figure, that is having the total control, and this Xen does not include any device drivers. any device drivers need. It just provides a mechanism by which a guest OS can have direct access to the physical devices. As a result, the size of this Zen hypervisor is kept very smaller because it doesn't possess any device drivers and any host even. Okay, right? So this Zen provides a virtual environment located between the hardware and also the OS. Number of vendors are in the process of developing commercial Zen hypervisors, and among them are nothing but the critics, Zen server and Oracle. Okay. The core components of a Zen system are the hypervisor, kernel and applications. The origination, the main origin for this is nothing but here it uses one hypervisor, and this organization of the three components is very important. Like other virtualization systems, many guest OSs can run on top of the hypervisor. However, not all guest OSs are created equal, and one in particular controls the others. The guest operating system, which has control ability, is called domain 0, and the others are called as domain U. See, means what here? One is for operating system, that is domain 0 is for operating system, that is a privileged mode, and domain U means users, that is meant for the users. And this domain 0 is a privileged guest OS of Zen. It is the first loaded when Zen boots without any file system drivers being available. And this domain 0 is designed to access hardware directly and manage devices. Therefore, one of the responsibilities of this is to allocate and map hardware resources for the guest domains, means the domain U. Okay, ma'am, right? So here the example, Zen is based on Linux and its security level is C2. Its management virtual machine is named as domain O, that is domain 0, which has the privilege to manage other virtual machines implemented on the same host. If domain 0, that is operating system, domain O, is compromised, then the hacker can control the entire system. That is the reason in the virtual machine system, in this VM system, security policies are needed to improve the security of domain O, and also here this in this case this domain O behaving as a VML, which allows users to create, copy, save, read, modify, share, migrate and roll back virtual machines as easily as possible, manipulating a file like. Okay, so this copying is nothing but here this copying can be hacked. Okay, that is what the main there in that aspect we need to provide the security. Okay, so just like a normal file can create, copy, save, read, modify, share these files. Okay, right? So which is nothing but very flexible. It provides tremendous benefits for users. Unfortunately, it also brings a series of security problems during the software life cycle and data lifetime. Okay, so this is what nothing but the Zen architecture is.